It's track reviews.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for a track review of the brand new song Nowhere to Go from Earl Sweatshirt. Earl, California rapper, I believe he's still based out of California, formerly of Odd Future fame, though he always stood out from the group because of his backstory, his personality, his talent level. It's been several years since the release of his last full-length album, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. That came out in 2015. If you remember, a very short, dark, depressing, and grim little album. He has a new record on the way, I am pretty sure, because he's dropping a new single over here. Seems like there's a small promotional rollout for this thing and a lot of buzz around him putting out some new music. It is getting toward the end of the year, so, you know, crunch time. Crunch time. List week is coming. End of the year is coming. So if any artist is going to be trying to make some kind of musical impact on 2018, you better be thinking about doing it now. So let's see where this new single goes. Earl has been like dropping little snippets of it on Instagram and everything. So, you know, I guess we'll get a taste of the full track now. 1 minute and 53 seconds of what I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Nowhere to Go, Earl Sweatshirt, new single. Let's give it a try. Wow. I don't want to have a weird reaction here because I don't want you guys to kind of take the fact that I'm not like exploding at this track as necessarily a bad thing, because there's just a lot to take in here and it's really overwhelming, but in some ways it's not. I think I will start with the most ear-grabbing thing about this track, and that's the production. The production on this thing is stunning. The beat is insane. If you look at this track in terms of, hey, is it catchy? Does it have a strong hook? Does it have a lot of structure to it? You're not going to get much out of this track because it doesn't really offer many of those things. But still, it does, in a very roundabout and abstract way, end up creating a very satisfying and intriguing and stimulating little musical experience. But again, the production. Everything on this beat, really everything in the track itself, but I think the beat is almost the crux of it, is just so loose and blobby. These sporadic little snares are kind of like wooden little percussive sounds that have a lot of treble on them. They just kind of lead the higher end of the beat. Those subterranean droney bits of bass, the ringing, stretched out male vocal samples played throughout the song as well, which seem very meditative, almost like they're a chant or a part of a ritual or something. It's all very just deep within the psyche. It's all just very relaxing. It's all surreal. It's a little psychedelic as well. Earl, the role that he plays on the song, it's like he's a little underwhelming. At least that's how I felt at first. But then when I started to listen more to his lyrics, it was like, okay, so he's kind of rapping about being lost. It's almost like he's directionless or something. He's rudderless, or he's finding himself. He's getting some kind of grip of himself artistically or personally on this song. And in a way that rings true in the way the sounds and the song are presented, because it's not like he's buried in the beat like his voice is mixed too low or whatever. It's like the way that his flow works out, the way that he vocally pops in and out of certain sounds within the instrumental. It's like you're getting little tiny, just a couple of frames, a couple of snapshots here and there of him and his thoughts occasionally, and then the beat kind of washes over him, and then the wave comes back down, and then you hear him sort of throw another line out there, and the wave comes back up and it comes back down, and you get another shot of him, and it's like he's slowly being swallowed away, or he's trying to dig his way out of this sound, out of this rut, out of this instrumental, out of this feeling of being lost. And in an emotional sense, in a conceptual sense, and in an instrumental sense, I feel like this track is kind of incredible. I feel like there are a lot of great things going on here. Now, it is a little on the short side. I do wish there was more meat to it, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume here that this track is probably going to be shoulder to shoulder with a number of other similarly abstract and short tracks on a new record, and they will most likely reinforce each other for the length of the entire album, which will be nice. But if there's another thing that I definitely want to say and get off my chest with this track before I head out of the review, it's that this is a pretty severe tone change for Earl. I mean, not that there aren't elements of sadness and introspection to this song like there have been on a lot of his tracks in the past, but that youthful anger and bitterness and aggression that has just been drowning a lot of his material up until this point seems kind of missing. You know, it's not here. And I don't know if you're the type of fan, if you're the type of Earl fan who necessarily would be, I guess, disappointed by seeing that disappear or upset by seeing that disappear. I personally am not that I think his music is necessarily better or worse without it, but it's interesting to see him take a change of pace. It's almost like he's some monk on this track, and he's found at least a little bit of inner peace on this song in a really weird way, I guess is the best way that I can go about describing it. Also, I just feel like the vibe of the instrumental and the track itself, it has a strong like Brain Feeder Records vibe, but there is something about the sound of it and the way that it is so psychedelic and so odd and again, I'll say the word if I haven't said already, blobby. It just seems so formless in a way. Just how abstract and fractured a lot of the sounds are. It's almost like it's taking that to the next level. It's the next step. It's the next iteration of the evolution, of the ongoing evolution of sort of that West Coast wonky, surreal, psychedelic hip-hop instrumental sound. There are actually elements, I would say, of this production that remind me a little bit of Shabazz Palaces too, maybe a little bit of Milo as well. Maybe some early Milo fans will get into the production on this thing. There are a lot of great things about this track, and even though it's not one of Earl's lyrically darkest, densest tracks that he's dropped so far, I do feel like there is a lot of emotional potency to this cut, and I do see the concept and the message that he's going for in this song, and I think it goes over pretty well if you're willing to kind of oversee just how abstract the track is, to read into what he's saying and what the sounds are basically trying to say in terms of, I guess, just an auditory story. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think the track generally is pretty good, though just by itself, I don't really think it amounts to a whole lot ultimately. I'm just kind of waiting to see what the rest of this new record is going to sound like. Without a doubt, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. So Nowhere to Go, Earl, new single. I'm going to leave it at that. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Earl Sweatshirt, Nowhere2go. Forever.